So, welcome back to tutorial number 7. This one is on building maps and rooms and doors and hovers, and if we're really good, we'll get into dark maps as well. Sounds like a lot, but don't worry about it. This is all the stuff that goes into making buildings come alive, where you've got a lot of details. So, you'll see here, we're back in the Touch the Darkness story, and I've uploaded 2 maps here. One is a ground floor, and then the other is a second floor that are connected by a flight of stairs right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to make rooms for all of these and for all of the rooms inside this building, and all of the doors will hook up so we can move around in this building. And the stairs will be one-way doors that will lead between the floors, between these 2 maps. Okay, so just so you know, I've put in the attribution text up here for where I got these wonderful maps from. It's from the Tallus adventure series. The Ed Burrell is a wonderful cartography map maker, and we're just going to use this just as an example. If you're interested in any of Ed's work, I really do recommend you check out Skeleton Key Games. So we've started with our maps that we've uploaded, and I've now categorized them as maps. So you can sort of get a good overview of how this is all going to work. We're going to hook up, remember the other fantasy map we had here, we're going to hook it up so that a location on this map is going to take you to the entryway of this location. So it's of this map. So this is a nested location. It will go from a location here, but link up to a much more complicated location here. So we're moving beyond the little points that we've used as locations up until now. We're going to get a little more complicated. So let's head over to the world building editor. And I haven't even created the maps or anything like that here. So before there we've got our city. And I'm going to create a new map for, we may as well call it Madame Kertha's house. So this is going to be a floor plan. There's not really much difference between a 3D overhead map and a floor plan. It's just a matter of perspective. You'll see in the write-up here that I talk about just, you got to make sure that you get all the angles right and that you don't leave a room unconnected by doors, otherwise you can't get into it. Okay, so I'm going to start with a floor plan map. I'm going to paste in Madame Kethra's house. And that's going to be ground floor. And the parent map for this is going to be Malefantasia. And we're going to create a nested location out of this. So the nested location name is going to be the name that will appear on the parent map. So Madame Kethra's house there. And we're going to have the starting room name going to be the entryway. So when you click on Madame Kethra's house on the Malefantasia map, it will take you to the entryway as if you've just opened the front door and gone in. And let's pick the ground floor map to be that. So you'll click on the map and you'll peer about there. That's going to be where that entryway is going to be. And it's not a Google map, it's not an OpenStreetMap, and we'll get to what we do with a dark map, but for now that should keep us going. So let's go OK to that. All right, and you see that Madame Kethra's house is loaded up here. We can see the map. And what's great now, if I go over to the location grid, you'll see that we've got 2 new locations listed here. One is for the Madame Kethra's house, which is on the fantasy map, and then one for the entryway as it appears on the ground floor. So initially we need to hook these 2 things up. So, I don't know, what looks like Madame Kethra's house on this map here? Let's see. That could be it. So let's make that. If you click on that location, that will take you to the entryway. So what we're going to do to flesh out this map is we're going to create a whole bunch of rooms. The thing about rooms is that they are also locations. They're just locations that have regions. That'll make more sense as we get in and start creating this. But let me just start by placing our entryway in here. Oh, and another thing to sort of note as I slide this over. So you can see what the parent map is, and you can see that there's the connected location there from Malefantasia, like Madame Kethra's house, to the entryway. So that shows that it's connected. And this entryway is, because we're making a building, we are now going to have room locations. And actual fact, if I show you this, the entryway is now a room. And if you go over to the room locations here, you'll see that it's also listed over here. So the entryway is listed in both the location grid and the room grid. And that will make sense as we go on. But okay, let's just start fleshing this out and adding some more details. So we've already placed Madame Kethra's house here. And then the entryway is going to be located over here. Okay, and so now we can save that. And there's our entryway. It doesn't seem like much yet, but just hang on, we'll get there. So let's create some other rooms. Actually, I'm going to go over to the room grid now. Room locations. And let's add some more rooms here. So you'll see now everything I add has this little check mark, and it's always going to be a room. So new location, let's call this little area over here, let's call that a storeroom. Ground level storeroom. I'm sure there's lots of other storerooms that are going to be in here. And we're not really doing any neighborhoods or anything else like that. And I'm going to put the dot for that room right down there. Okay, so that's pretty much everything. And now, oh, guess what I forgot to do? Actually, hang on. Go back to location, back to rooms, and dot didn't appear. Okay, well, I'm going to add some more rooms in here just while I'm working away. Let's call this sort of the living quarters up here. Let's call it the main room. And I'm going to put the dot right there. And everything else should be good, so... Okay. Again, those dots aren't appearing. That's a bit of a bug, but that's okay. We sort of know what we're doing here. So let's add on, this is a kitchen, so let's add that on. Put that over there. Go okay. And let's do one on the second floor here, because we have enough rooms that we can sort of link up between doors, and I can flesh this all out, but so oh, I know why. Because I haven't created the second floor of Madame Kethra's map. Okay, so let's add that on. Second floor. Okay, and we won't worry about creating any nested locations for that. And we'll just select our second floor and go okay. All right, so there we've got Second floor, we've got the first floor there, and I'm going to link up those stairs in a second. So let's go back over to our room locations. Okay. And still created another location there. Hang on. Okay, on room location, let's add in on the second floor. Let's call it the upstairs landing. Okay, and we'll put it right there. This whole area is going to be the upstairs landing, but we'll just leave that there for now. Okay. And let's maybe hook up one of the rooms upstairs here. The meeting room, that looks like good. That looks like a meeting room, right? Okay, second floor, and we'll put it right in the dead center of the table there. Actually, no, we'll put it right there. Go okay. All right, so now we've got all of these rooms placed in, and they exist as dots. Let me reload the data here. Okay, we're back here. I've cleaned up some of the data and did some refreshing here, and everything seems to be looking okay. Let's make this particularly big. So there's our entryway, there's our ground level storeroom, main room, kitchen, main room, upstairs landing, and the meeting room. So these are all room locations. They have all been placed as location dots, but now we're going to place the regions for these rooms. So, okay, so the entryway is going to be this box right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I get it sort of halfway between these walls and the door, so that you'll see the door and be able to click on them. Anything within the region of the room that you are in is something that you can click on and manipulate. If it's outside of your room, you shouldn't be able to click on it. So, again, that'll make more sense as we go along, but let's just... Okay, so to fill out the region, you double-click. Okay, there's our first dot. I'm going to put another one over here for entryway. Okay. Then I can put another dot down here. Hopefully get midway in the door. Okay. And double-click to wrap it up. Now, you'll see up at the top here, we've got these square room points. Sometimes you find that you want to do square blocks, and you'll find that the double-clicking doesn't necessarily help you do that. If you click this, you see, it just suddenly turned all of those dots into right angles, which makes it look a lot better. So, okay, so we've got our first room now. That region is our entryway. Okay, so let's do the ground level storeroom. So that's going to be this area over here. So we double click here, here, and then double click here. Okay, and then let's straighten all the points. Okay, and so we now have an entry. We have the ground level storeroom, and eventually we're going to place a door that will link these two together. And the idea is that the region for that is going to connect both clickable areas of the ground level storeroom and the entryway, and that way you can move between both. So let's do the main room next. It's fairly large up here. Okay, so again, I'm going to get midway here, and then midway there, and midway there. And then let's straighten them all out. Okay. sort of see. There's going to be a door that will be here, but it won't be a physical door. It's going to be like an entry. It's like an archway or an opening. So, but technically speaking, it is a door because it links two room locations together. Okay, let's look at the kitchen now. So I'm going to put one here. There, and there. Again, it's the double click of just where you want all those points to go. And I'm going to straighten them all out. See, we got a little bit of overlap on the main room and the kitchen, but that's okay. The doors is where it's going to really matter. Okay, so upstairs landing. Well, welcome to our first really odd shape. But you just click out the points, and that's really all you need to do. So again, I like to start with sort of the leftmost, topmost points, and so that looks pretty good. So we'll go there, to there, to there. Doesn't look like I'm in the room yet, but once I start doing other points here, it'll swing around. To there, to there, to there, and I can still place another point within the... I should be able to. Stuff isn't working today. Okay. Alright. Let's move that guy over. Turn that off, and then double click here. There we go, and that's pretty much wrapped things up. Now, you can sort of see what I mean now, where some of these angles look a little bit off. But what's kind of cool is if I select this point here, I can click the other, and this will square so that this will line up with their other 2 points. And it will look like a right angle. I'm going to do that over here as well. And do that one there. So it actually looks pretty good, huh? Let me line this one up. And I think with enough of them, they're looking pretty good. I should be able to click on all those doors. Okay, so let's wrap up and do the meeting room here. Okay, so I'm going to start with this corner up there. Go to here, double click. Click right there. Click there, and double click there. Okay. So, I'm getting better here as we go along. So let's go and do some alignment on some of these dots. Align that one. And that one. And that one. All right. I think that looks pretty good. Okay, so we've got our meeting room, upstairs landing, kitchen, main room, ground level storeroom, and entryway. Okay, so we got to hook up some doors now to bring this all together. So I'm going to go back to our entryway. All right, I'm going to do the first door connecting the entryway to the level storeroom. So I go over to the Doors tab, add a new door. Okay, let's just call it door. And it's going to connect the entryway to the ground level storeroom. And that's cool, you can sort of see the first floor map and you can see how it's connecting these 2 rooms together. So it sort of shows what's how you're going to be able to get around with these doors. It's always a good way to sort of check that you've hooked up the right rooms. We will not hide the overlay on this particular example, and we're not going to make this one way. We're going to make the stairs one way, but we'll get to that in a second. And then you can also change the cursor style. We'll get into some of this when we get into more of the advanced scripting. And let's leave the image alone for now. Okay, so storeroom door. And you see that one room is sort of a reddish tinge and one room is sort of a bluish tinge. And so now I'm going to add in the clickable region that's going to connect those two together. So I put a door there, a dot there, a dot there, and a dot there. And I'm going to square that out. Okay, so now when you click on that door, it's going to lead between the ground level storeroom and the entryway. And as we add more doors, you're going to see these lines start to hook up. It's going to be like a giant web. And that's the way you could be sure, because if you can go along purple lines throughout your entire, well, building or house in this case, then you know that you've correctly connected them together. So let's add in the entryway here, a way to get to the main room. So we're going to go from the entryway to the main room. Again, you see the door there. Let's call it the main room entrance. That'll be fine. Play on entryway as well. Okay, so I think that's good. We don't need to change anything else right now. Okay. Now, you'll say, where are my lines? They're not there. Well, you've got to sort of place the geometry for that door first. So as we start to fill in this opening, that will show where those lines are going to connect up. So let's do it. And I'm going to do it obeying the walls. So let's do it there. My wrist is a little... Okay. All right, and then right there. And then let's square that up to make it look good. Okay, so now we go from the entryway to the main room. And you can sort of see now that if we were to go from the storeroom, we can get to the main room over there. Let's hook up our kitchen. So, main room, let's go to the kitchen. Okay. And here we go. So this door over here. Let's hook that up. Again, double clicks, and let's just square it, make it look good. Okay. So now you can see we've got a nice little path here. I could do doors and rooms for the rest of the house, but I'm just going to show you the basics here, and then we'll go from there. It's actually a lot of fun to sort of create these and fill out your building. I'm going to leave the stairs to the very end. So there's a door that goes between the upstairs landing, and now this won't make sense for a second, but don't worry about that. They're on two different maps is what's happening there. Let's go to the meeting room. So there we're getting the door that's going to connect these two. And let's just call that front. Okay. And there we go. It's connecting that room to that room. So let me just hook this up. I think I messed that first point up. Oh well. See what happens when it averages it out. That's okay. All right, so we should be able to click from the meeting room over, or for the upstairs landing over to the meeting room. Okay. So what about these stairs? Okay. So we're actually going to create two doors, and they're going to be one way in both cases. So we're going to have like the downstairs stairs that will lead from the entryway over to the upstairs landing. And the upstairs landing is on a different map. See, because the door isn't in the same place. Although, in this case it is, but you never know. Multiple floor just may not overlap exactly as I've got them as this hooked up. So let's call this then, let's add a new door, and we'll call this the ground floor stairway. And this is going to go from the entry. The order now is very important, that it goes from the entryway to the upstairs landing. Because we're going to do a different... The upstairs will go... The second floor stairway is going to go from the upstairs landing to the entryway. So this is going to be one way. And that should be good. Actually, let's do a different hover cursor. Let's put an up arrow on this just to sort of show that that's doing something different here. Okay, so that looks good. Okay, so now when I look at the entryway, I can sort of see the overlap of the upstairs landing there as well. But all I'm trying to do here is just place my door so that when you click this, it's going to take you up to that upstairs landing. But other than that, it's not going to have very much else in terms of a connection between, because they're on two different maps, right? Okay, so let's square that off. That looks good. Okay, so now when you click on that, it's going to take you up to the upstairs landing. You can even see that there is an overlap there. Okay, so let's add in our second door, or second stairway. So this is the second floor stairway, and this is going to go from the upstairs landing to the entryway. And it's one way. So, and we probably want a down arrow on that. Okay. All right, so let's add this in. Okay, actually, I might copy those points exactly, but okay, so I'm just going to put 4 points in. I'll square them. And then watch this. Okay, another little bug there. Let me reload that. Okay, I've redone this, and so now you can see the second floor stairway leading down to the entryway. So that shows that those two are connected there. Okay, so now, and with all the lines, although it's not as clear, you can see how you can get from all the way over here from the storeroom door over to the kitchen and then into the upstairs floor as well. So we could go in to look at this now in Story World, but I want to do one more thing. So when you have rooms, you might have things that you want to click on, and that's what we call a hover. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to specify this couch to be, well, that's on the entryway. The first floor entryway couch, and maybe some of the stuff in the kitchen as well. So let me add in that hover. I'll put it in the entryway, and let's call it the entryway couch. Okay, and everything else seems okay. I'm going to hide this overlay just to sort of show you a difference there. Okay. So let's define that. So there. And let's square that. Okay, so now we've got an entryway couch we can search or click on or lie down on. I don't know. Let me do one in the kitchen as well. That's because that was pretty interesting. They have a fireplace there. That's cool. I like fireplaces, let me tell you. So you put it in the room that you want to put it in, the kitchen. And kitchen fireplace. And I'm going to hide the overlay again. And maybe you'll make that hover cursor be a search. Maybe you have to search inside the kitchen fireplace. So, okay. And again, the importance with the room definition is that if you have a hover that's outside of that room, you won't be able to click on it. So the room is defining what's clickable, which includes doors and hovers. So let's, if that went too fast, leave something in the comments and I'll elaborate further. It's just the room is giving you your clickable region, and then you just got to make sure the doors and anything else obeys that region. We'll give you a very good example of that when we get to dark maps. Okay, so now I've got the kitchen fireplace, I've got the entryway. The difference here between doors and hovers, which we did have to do for the locations, is that we had to specify like the location X and Y, because like that's where your characters are going to be standing, your players are going to be standing. This is stuff that they interact with, so it's not as critical. It's just like a region that you click on. Okay, so I think we're ready to go into Story Worlds to see that this is all working. And we're going to go from Malefantasia and explore this house. Let's give it a shot. Okay, here we are in StoryStylus again, and let's start a new game and go exploring. Okay. Alright, so here is Madame Kethra's house. Doesn't look as good, but that's a good start. Okay, so we've got our Dark Palace, we've got our Dark Temple. Let's go into Madame Kethra's house, and there we go. So now we're in the entryway, and let's go into the main room entrance. And you see we've moved into the main room.